Hello, I'm AD Hobbs, and this review, hang on, the visual aid, here it comes. Okay, there we are. Mad Max, yes, the first big hit film with Mel Gibson. There it is, 1979, the original film, Mad Max, yes. The last law in a world gone out of control, yeah. The sawn-off shotgun and the super cool fast car, yeah. Mad Max. Now, as you have probably gathered, this review concerns Mad Max, yes. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest. The first time I saw Mad Max, I think I was about 13, I saw it on the telly late at night, and I hated it. I thought it was a terrible movie. It's awful, yeah. For a start, it says at the beginning, a few years from now, right? So it's set in the future. Well, where's the really advanced vehicles? Where's the really advanced gadgets? Where's the really cool futuristic clothes? It doesn't look like it's in the future at all. This could be any time period, yeah. So I felt a bit cheated at that, yeah. And I didn't like the violence. It was way over the top, but then in my defence I hadn't seen any violent films before this. And it's not just the ultra-violence, it's the pessimism, you know. It has a very gloomy, grim look. Oh God, everything's awful, everything's bad, it's all very grim, you know. Nevertheless, I did sit all the way through it, and after I thought, right, well that was rubbish, I've seen all I want of that. I don't care that there's sequels, I'm not interested, you know. However, years later, I think when I was about 14, I saw the third one, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Quite by chance, actually. I recorded something off the telly and accidentally recorded this after that thing. Anyway, I like the third one a bit better. Yeah, this was a little bit better, a bit better story, and a bit bizarre and wacky, the way they talk and everything, the strange expressions they have, yeah. But nevertheless, I thought that was a bit better. Then, well, I think I was about 16, I saw Mad Max 2, and I loved that one. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah, this is the stuff. This is what it's all about, yeah. A much better futuristic action film, yeah. And then I saw the second and third one a number of times, and yes, I couldn't decide which was the better one. They were both so good, the second and third one. So then, a couple of years later, the first one was on the telly again, and I thought, come on. You know, give the first one another chance, see what you think, yeah. So I did, and yes, I obviously didn't like Mad Max at first viewing, but after seeing the second one, obviously I was interested in the origin. And the first Mad Max film, not as good as the second and third, but it was interesting to see how everyone got to be the way they are, how Mad Max got to be in the position he's in, and all that and everything, yeah. So I liked it after that. And the general public would agree with me. Okay, I'll explain what I mean. Mad Max, released in 1979, it was a huge blockbuster in Australia. The rest of the world didn't care for it too much, yeah. They did try and make it a hit in America by dubbing all the voices in American accents, but no, all to no avail. It didn't work, no. But honestly, no, I prefer it with the Australian accents. Part of the appeal of the Mad Max franchise is that it's in Australian. And because not everything that's super cool comes from America. There are some exceptions. And for me, Mad Max was the best thing to come out of Australia, yeah. Anyway, but all to no avail. Still, Mad Max was not successful in America in 1979. However, around about the year 1982, Mad Max 2 was released, and it was huge, massive blockbuster, yeah. Europe and America all loved it, so naturally enough showed an interest in the first one afterwards, yeah. And Mad Max is quite an unusual film set in the future because, well, for a start, it wasn't supposed to be set in the future originally. No, it was about a cop that has gone rogue and goes mad in order to destroy the bad guys. Hence the title of the film, Mad Max. At no point in the film does anyone call him Mad Max. No, he's just known as Max or Max Rockatansky, yeah. Anyway, the problem was the movie was on a really, really small budget. Yes, one of the most profitable films ever made. It cost next to nothing to make and made millions in return. Anyway, because it was on such a small budget when they made it, they couldn't afford to film in skyscrapers or really modern, swanky buildings or anything like that. So instead they decided to film like run-down buildings in isolated locations because that's cheaper, much more cost-effective, yeah. And so in other words, it's set in the future for two reasons. Firstly, How can you explain all these rundown buildings everywhere? Well, let's say the whole world is like that. Let's say it's set in the future, yes, an apocalypse, the collapse of society, yeah. And another reason why it's set in the future is because, well, Mel Gibson obviously went on to be very famous, but when the film was made, he wasn't famous. In fact, nobody in the movie was famous, no. So what can you do to make up for the lack of celebrity? Well, really cool car chase scenes. Yes, as brilliant, high-octane thriller, really, really fast motorbikes, really, really fast cars, incredible speed, yeah. Great chase sequences, great action, and ultra-violence. Yes, the bikers are quite mad. They're really violent, yes. When they attack their victims, they don't kill them straight away. Oh, no, they maul them and mangle their bodies and then eventually kill. Oh, God, it's really brutal graphic violence, yeah. And one of the people making the film said, well, no, this violence is too over the top to be believable. Wouldn't it make more sense if it was set in the future instead of the present day? That way the violence would be more believable. And so they thought, okay, let's do that instead, yeah. So in other words, Mad Max set in the future, there's no really advanced technology. So what makes it futuristic? The violence. Crime has gone way out of control. Criminals are far more violent in the future than they are now. So that's what gives it a futuristic look. Also, there's little or no authority figures anywhere. It's like the collapse of justice, the collapse of civilization. And in a world where there's no rules, well, crime goes on the uprise. Yes, it's absolutely horrendous. Why are there so few authority figures? Well, it doesn't clearly specify in the film. Are they all away fighting in a war somewhere else? No, it doesn't specify. Just that, well, just go with it. Yes, you have to be really brutal in order to survive, yeah. And, okay, let's get on with the story. The opening sequence, The Knight Rider, not to be confused with the TV show Knight Rider, no, that's spelt with a K. This character is called the Knight Rider, spelt with an N, night, as in the night sky. Because when he drives really fast, he looks at the night sky. At no point in the film do we see him do that, but anyway, that's his cool nickname. And he drives incredibly fast, and does he like his nickname? He says, I am the Knight Rider! I am a terminal piece of insanity! Yes, he is quite deranged, quite crazy, yeah. And, yes, he outwits all these other policemen. He's driving incredibly fast. Yes, they smash with like a caravan and stuff. Almost run over a little boy. Yes, anything goes. Anyone can be killed at any second, yeah. And then finally, Mad Max chases after him. I don't think he intended to kill the Knight Rider. No, he inadvertently, the Knight Rider crashes it and then his car is destroyed and he's killed. And, of course, the bikers want revenge for the death of their leader. Is the Knight Rider their leader? Well, anyway, he's clearly a very important member of the gang. If he was the leader, then the Toe Cutter replaces him as leader. Yeah, the Toe Cutter is leader of the gang, yeah. And, the Toe Cutter, he's a bit different to the Knight Rider. He's not deranged and crazy throughout the whole story, no. He is a bit well, all of the bikers really are a bit mad. They say and do wacky, bizarre things. But then who's going to stop them? There's no rules. They make up their own rules as they go along, yeah. And the Toe Cutter, he is wacky and bizarre, but he's serious and calculating when he needs to be, when he comes up with a serious plan for his gang, yeah. And then there are other bits when he's quite wacky and bizarre. He goes, I hate guns! Yes, he's mad, he's crazy, yeah. The woman's pointing a rifle at him, and he reacts like that. He's wacky. He's wacky and crazy, and he has absolutely no fear of dying. And that's what makes him very dangerous, yeah. Anyway, Mad Max, his best friend is simply known as the Goose, yeah. He's really fast on a motorbike, yeah. And yeah, he's a really cool policeman like Max. And then there's a bit when the Goose, he doesn't crash by chance. No, the baddies cause him to crash. He's in like a pickup truck or something that turns over upside down. And then there's nowhere to go. And the bad guys kill him. They burn him. Yes, his goose is cooked. Okay, that would be funny if it wasn't so tragic, yes. They technically don't kill the goose. No, I think they intended to. But they've utterly incinerated and mutilated his body. And he ends up on a life support machine, yeah. And as you may imagine, this traumatises Max. I'm horrified. My best friend mutilated in such a way. And he goes to his boss and says, I want to give up being a policeman. I can't do this anymore. And the boss says, no, you can't give up. You're the best copper I've got. But then Max, he says, no, there's another reason why I want to give up being a road policeman. I'm afraid, well, when we drive incredibly fast, all these crazy methods we use to stop the bad guys, I'm becoming like them. I'm becoming as brutal as the bikers, and I don't like it. In the end, a compromise, Max agrees he'll have a holiday for a couple of weeks, and if he feels the same way afterwards, then he'll give up being policeman. So with his wife and his little toddler son, they go on like a little holiday, and the bikers find them. And how the hell did they find them? How did they know? Well, actually, technically, the bikers don't find them. They just bump into Max's wife by chance and then go after them, yeah. And yes, they go to this other place with their car, and they want a spare tyre, but there's no time for that. They have to leave straight away. And then the bikers know where they are, but sort of taunt them and tease them. Don't attack them straight away. Then afterwards, Max thinks they're in the forest. They trick him into thinking that. Whereas really, they're after his wife, who's in the car, that breaks down. She gets out, holds her baby, and just runs for dear life, get as far away from as possible. And they run them over. So Max, his wife and his child have been brutally murdered. Yes, well, he's got nothing to lose anymore now. He goes rogue. He gives up being a policeman. He takes the police's really super cool car that can go incredibly fast, and decides he wants to kill all the bikers. No trial, no jury, nothing. Just systematically kill all of them, yeah. And the word mad has 3 different meanings. Mad means super cool, like, well, that's mad, man. Yeah, that's really cool, yeah. It means very, very angry. And the other meaning of mad is, of course, insane. You've lost your mind, yeah. In this case, all 3, yes. Mad Max is mad in every sense of the word, yeah. And he kills the bikers, which is not very hard to do, because he has a car and they're on motorbikes, so he sort of rams into them, biffs them, runs over them, forces some to go off at the edge of a bridge. Yes, he's killing them all. Really brutal, yeah. And after a time, the bikers realise we're not hunting him, he's hunting us, yeah. And then the last death, the tow cutter... Oh, technically, no. The tow cutter is the second last member of the gang to be killed. But it is nevertheless a very dramatic death. He's being chased on his motorbike, and at the last second, Mad Max forces him to go on a bit of road where the tow cutter on his motorbike is run over by a massive articulated lorry. And, oh, yes, he is utterly mangled, utterly destroyed, yeah. And then finally, the last member of the gang to be killed is Johnny the boy. And Mad Max handcuffs his ankle to a car that's about to explode any second now, yeah. Now, Johnny the boy doesn't recognise Max. Now, technically they have met before, but Johnny the boy was on drugs. He was stoned out of his skull at the time, so he doesn't recognise Max. And Max doesn't explain why he's doing this, Well, this is what he says. He chains Johnny's ankle to the car and says, it's going to explode any second. Here's a hacksaw. The chain in those handcuffs is high tensile steel. It'll take you 10 minutes to saw through it with this. Now, if you're lucky, you could saw through your ankle in 5 minutes. Go. And then leaves him like that, yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, Max doesn't tell Johnny who he is, doesn't explain why he's doing this. Because he wants him to know what it feels like for a total stranger to do wrong to you for no justifiable reason, yeah. And Johnny can't saw through his own ankle, he loses his button, instead he begs for his life. And that scene was a huge influence on the Saw franchise, yeah. And, okay, and then at the end, Max, he drives away, leaves the car, and it explodes in the background. Yes, cool guys drive away from explosions. But what happens next? What eventually becomes of Max? It doesn't specify. We just see him driving away for a long time. Well, I know what happens because I've seen the sequels. But no. Even before the sequels, you can kind of work out what's happened. He becomes nomadic, always on the run. He becomes like them, like the bikers, yeah. Which is really rather grim, yeah. He's lost all his humanity, all sense of, responsibility. But then in his defence, Max, he had to become as brutal as the bikers in order to beat them, yeah. There's no justice anymore, so Max has put it upon himself to fight evil everywhere, yeah. His wife and his son, the 2 people that meant everything to him, are gone. So all that's left for him to do is revenge, yeah. So Mad Max, you may not like it at first viewing, but after a time you kind of get it. You realise that the ultra-violence is justifiable to tell a good story, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.